Hey everybody, Heather here. Today we are going to be coloring the super cute new Stamping Bella image called Sally and Her Snail. Isn't she adorable? She's from the new Tiny Townies collection that just came out. Love her. I will put a link down in the description box to the card kit and all the supplies I used. I would love for you to come shopping with me. So I have already stamped my image on Neenah 80-pound Solar White cardstock with Memento Tuxedo Black ink. So let's color. So let's start out by outlining our image, and today we're going to use C00, BG 000, BG quadruple 0, and our colorless blender. I'm going to start with my C00, and I'm just going to go around my entire image, just like I normally would. So we're just going to work my way around the flowers, go around that little snail there, get his little antenna. Go up here. We just want to go all the way around this antenna here. There's got a little dab there between her her face and her shirt, a little bow. There's a little bit of space there. Do that. And I also want to get this butterfly, so let me jump over here and do that. And then we're just going to continue around to the other side. And I'm not really being very careful going around these leaves. If I get some on it, it's no big deal. We're going to color them green. But if you're worried, you can erase it with your colorless blender. And work our way back around over to this side. And I'm going to do a bunch of grass in here, so I'm not going to worry about getting in there. But let's do over here around this flower. And maybe bring it down here just a little bit. Next, I'm going to grab BG 000. And I just want to do the same thing I just did. So I'm just going to go right back over that gray with my blue. Work my way around. Again, get that little dab there in between her shirt. And around our flower, or around our leaves. And again, I wasn't being very careful. I did get some on my leaf. We can erase that later if we want. I'm not going to worry about it. And again, we'll come down in here, even though we're going to put grass in there. And we'll come around this flower. And then pull down a little bit here. Oh, and don't forget our butterfly. Next, we're going to grab BG 000, and I want to do this one on the edge. So I'm going to go out here a little bit more. I'm going to fill in this little space right there. So I'm still touching the edge of my last color, but I want to bring my color out a little bit more. So over here, I'm going to connect it to this butterfly. And I'm not being very tidy. I'm just kind of swirling it around. And you can try to make your line smaller or bigger if you want to have more space. And like that. And lastly, I'm going to take my colorless blender and I'm just going to go from my girl, and I'm just going to swipe over the entire area until I come out into my white. So I'm going over all the blue and the gray and just kind of swooshing over the top of it to blend them together. So now let's do her skin and her cheeks. For that, we're going to use E11, E21, E00, E000. For cheeks, we're going to use R20 and R30. I'm going to start down here on her arms with E11. And I'm going to give each, well, let's do her little chest right here. There's a little bit of her skin showing right here too. So I'm going to do a little bit there along the edge and along underneath of her hair. And then for her arm, I'm going to go down the inside of her arm. And I'm being very careful to just tap my pen, just the end of it, just a little bit. And over here, we're going to go underneath this bow and down the other side of her arm. And let's do a little bit on each of these little fingers. And then I'm going to grab E21. And let's brush a little bit in here. And I'm going to go down her arms. And her arms are really small, so you've just got to barely touch your pen onto your paper. And then I'm going to go over the entire thing with E000. Let's fill in the rest of her chest here, or her upper body. And then for her arms, I'm going to go down the entire arm. And I'm also kind of swirling my brush around over the areas I already colored in. Same for this arm. Let's go down this arm. And swirl over these fingers. And then let's hop up here and we'll do her face. So again, I'm going to grab E11. And she's got a little bit of her ear showing right here. So let's give that a little dab of color here at the bottom. And then I want to take my E11 along each side of her face and her bangs. Here. And I want to grab E21 next. I'll flick a little bit more color on her ear. And then I want to soften this line right here on the side of her face. And I want to bring this color around to meet the other side. Next we'll grab E00. I'm going to fill her ear in. And then for her face, I want to brush. I'm going to lay my brush down on top of my last two colors and flick away from that line into the middle. And next we'll grab E000. And we're going to go again over those colors and bring that color into the middle. Now don't worry that it's not blended out all the way because I'm going to add a little bit more color after I do her cheeks. So let's add a little bit of R20. And then over here, a little circle of color. And I'll take R30 and just feather the edge. And then I'm going to grab E21. And I'm going to flick right along the edge of this one soft cheek. And I'm going to do a little bit on that side. And then E00 is next. So I'm going to bring this color out past that cheek color. But I want to work up here into where her bangs are. Same for this side. Go clear over that cheek. And then go up along this little line here. I'm going to do it along the bottom. And then E000 to go across the entire face. Now let's do her hair. For that we're going to use E35, E33, and E31. I'm going to start with my E35. Let's go ahead and start over here on this side of her face. So I'm going to flick a little bit of color. She's got a little bit of a hair that comes down here. So I'm going to fill that in a little bit, and then I'm going to flick my color up onto this cute little ponytail, or under where the flower goes. And then over here, she's got some hair underneath that's kind of tucked underneath there. I'm going to go ahead and go up here around her ear, and kind of where there's a little line right here that I'm just going to flick up onto. Okay, and then let's do a little bit above the flower. And let's do right here, I'm going to put a part right here. So I'm going to go ahead and flick down away from that part. And get right in here in between this flower. And then for her bangs over here on this side, I am going to do a little bit of color right in the ends. And then I'm going to put a little bit of a part right here where her bangs kind of bump up. So I'm going to take my pen and make my own little bump up here, like that. But I also want the color to go back away from this line. So let's go ahead and flick a few little streaks in here like so. And then let's do a couple little streaks back here where it looks like it kind of dips down in. So I'm going to put a little kind of like a side part back here. Next I'm going to grab E33. We're going to add some more color. So let's start over here. Flick a little bit on here. She's also got a little bit of hair showing in between those petals. So I'm going to kind of bring my pen up into that and work our way around this cute little flower petal in the back. Fill in the hair space. There's a little bit of space in between each of those little petals. And then we're going to bring it up. And just work our way around to the other side. And then I want to fill it in with my E31. And I'm being careful going around all my flower petals there, or my leaves. And work our way over to this other side over here. And she's also got a little bit of hair that's kind of showing right here that I'm going to just kind of fill in right there. Then I'm going to take my E35, which was my darkest color again, and go in and add just a little bit of dark back in. Now let's hop down here and work on the stripes on her sock. For the first stripes I'm going to use BG72, and BG70. I'm going to start with my BG72, and let's start with the sock over here. So I'm just going to give every other stripe a little swab of color. Go right along the edge here, skip one, go the next one, skip one, and then I'm going to take BG70 to fill it in. I touch down with my BG70 on top of my BG72 and then just kind of bring my color up to soften that edge just a little bit. Then we'll go over here and we're going to do this sock. So again, I've grabbed BG72 and let's do this top one, and then I skip one, and just work our way down to the bottom. And then BG70 to again fill that in. And then we're also going to use this color up here on the stripes of this bodice. So I'm going to take my BG72 and I'm going to fill in back here behind her arm. And then for her sleeve, or the front, I'm just going to go along her arm and then brush a little bit up here at the bottom. And then I want to flick and fill in the rest with my BG70. And as long as we've got these colors out, let's also do the dots on her pocket with the BG72. We're just going to fill those in. Okay, for the alternate stripes on the socks, we're going to use Y38 and Y32. So let's start with Y38, and we'll start again over here on this side. So we're just going to do the bottom of each of those cute little stripes on her socks. And she's got a little bit here showing between her ruffle. Okay, and we'll fill it in with Y32. And again, I just dabbed it down on top of my Y38 and then pull up to cover up the rest of that sock area. All right, and then let's do this other leg. So again, Y38 first, right along the bottom, Up towards the top, it's really skinny, so you gotta be careful. And then Y32 to fill it in. Okay, and then we're also going to use these colors up here on her bodice. So let's take our Y38 and do this little ruffle that's right here on her shirt, or on her outfit. So I'm going to use the Y38 right along the edge of that ruffle at the top. And then for her pocket, I'm going to do a little bit along the top of this ruffle, and then I want to do the back side of the pocket with that color. And I'm going to take Y32 to fill it in. So let's go up here and do the ruffle first. And I'm not worried if I get a little bit down here on her outfit, because her outfit's going to be red. So if you get some yellow on there, that's going to cover that right up. And then we also want to use these colors on the center of the flowers. So since we have them out, let's go ahead and do that. So I'm going to start with my Y38. And let's start over here, and we'll do a little swoop on this one, and that one. And here's some more over here. And then again, fill them in with your Y32. And later you can put some stickle stardust over that to make it all sparkly. And then I also want to use my Y38 up here on my butterfly and do the outside of the wings. Just go right around. We're leaving the insides white for later for the red. Now let's work on the red. For that, let's use R39, R29, and R24. I'm going to start down here on our shoes with R39. And let's do this shoe first. I'm going to go right along the back and along the bottom. And then for this shoe again, I'm going to do along the bottom and up here towards the top. And she's got a little crease in her shoe, so I'm going to give that a little dab of color. And then I'm going to grab R29, and I want to touch down on top of my R39 just to soften my edge and bring that around here to the front. And I think I'll do a little bit more over here on this side. And same for this side. Let's touch down on top of your R39. Just bring that color around a little bit. And then R24 to fill it in. And then we'll hop up here and we will do her outfit. So again, I've grabbed R39. And let's start up here at her top. So I'm going to do a little bit up here on her top. And I've got a little bit of this ribbon coming around the outside. And I'm going to go with R29 next. Fill in a little bit more of our space. And I think I'll actually go up here and do a little bit of color on my bow. And those bows are really tiny, so you got to be careful. And then R24 is next. And again, we'll just carefully go along the edge. And then up here on our bow. And then for the bottom of her outfit, let's do R39. So that down here, she's got a couple of great little creases in her outfit. So I'm going to go ahead and go across there and fill those in. And then over here she's got a couple little creases. So let's go ahead and add the little color on that. And then in here, in the middle, where she's straddling her snail, let's add a little bit of color where her bottom is touching her outfit onto her snail. And she's got, her leg kind of comes up in a curve right here, so I'm going to exaggerate that a little bit with a little bit of color right here. And next you're going to grab R29, and let's do brush right over the top of those colors and bring that color up. I'm trying to be careful not to touch a bunch of her arm with my color. And I'm going to bring this color up here along her ruffle. And then let's go over this. And then I'm going to take my R24 to fill it in. And be careful up here by the ruffle. And we'll go carefully by her arm. And then around our pocket. Let's go back down this way around the bottom here. And be careful going around your pocket ruffle. And then, oh, we got to do our ruffle at the bottom of her pants. Now let's work on our snail. So we're going to do his body first. So we're going to use R02 and R01. I'm going to take my R02 and I'm going to start down here at the bottom and I'm going to bring a line up here to the top of his head, maybe just a little bit past where his eye is. Then I'm going to take my color and I'm just going to flick it out like so. And then I'm going to go with my R01. And I know I wanted it to be a little bit darker, so I'm not going to go all the way across. And I'm going to grab R02 again. And again, flick right over that color. And bring a little bit more in there. And then now I'll fill it in with my R01. And then I took my R02, and I just wanted to add a little bit of texture. So I went in with my R02 and did a few little dots, just to give it a little bit of something going on in there. For his body, let's use our shell. Let's use E53, E51, and E50. I'm going to start with my E53. And I'm not going to use too much of this, but let's start down here at the bottom of his shell. And I'm going to go right along the edge. And I'm going to go up here, and where I went to this, I'm going to stop where I did my R02 on his body. Okay, and then I'm going to take this color again. I'm going to go down here where her foot is, and there's a little line along the bottom of his shell. So I want to go right along that line, and then skip, and then come over here and get this line. And then again, I want to do the inside of these lines up here. And here's a line. And then let's get the inside of this circle. And then I'm going to do a little bit up here underneath of her outfit, where she's sitting on his shell. Maybe a little bit in here on her hand. Like that. And I'm going to bring this line up here a little bit more. And then I'm going to grab E51, and I want to soften those lines, so I'm going to go right over the top of them. I'm going to bring this color up here. And I'm going to go ahead and bring it all the way down to the other side of his shell over here. Then I want to go over all of these lines. Just make them a little bit wider. And come up here and soften the edges of these lines. Oops, I forgot this one right here. And then I want to fill it in with my E50. So I'm just going to start down here at the bottom, and I'm just going to go in a little circle-y motion and bring my pen all the way around. And just kind of scrub it around in a big circle and fill that entire area in. Now be careful down here by your shoe. You don't want to touch that red. Same for the back. Let's go right along there. Careful up here by the red. And soften this line a little bit more. Let's add a little bit more color. Like that. And then I took my E53, and again I wanted to add a little bit of texture, so I'm going to just go along and put some dots randomly around on his shell. And you can put as many or as few as you want, and the longer you leave your pen down on the paper, the fatter your dots are going to be. So it's kind of up to you. I'm liking that, so I think I'm just going to leave him just like so. Now, let's do the flower petals. For that, we're going to use W1 and W0. I'm going to start with my W1, and let's do this one in her hair. And oh, I forgot to do the center, so we'll come back and do that. So I'm going to take my W1, and I'm just going to flick a little bit in the center of each petal. So I'm pulling away from the center of her petal out towards the edge of each of the petals on her flower. And there's already a line there, so I'm going over that. We'll just work our way around here on all the flowers. Just give each one a little bit of a shadow in there. So they'll still appear a little bit white. And then I'm going to take W0 to just fill in the rest of the petals, or just give the ends of that W1 a little bit of a scrub. Just wiping over the ends there to soften it. So I don't go clear out to the end of the flower petals. I'm just going over the edge of the end of that W1 just to give it a little bit of a softening. And then let's grab Y38 for the center of this petal up here so I don't forget. So Y38 and Y32 to fill that in. So I see I forgot to do the inside of this butterfly too, so let's take our R24 and fill that in, or whatever color you like. Just going to lightly go over the center of that cute little butterfly's wings. And then we're going to go down here and we're going to add some grass. So for that, we're going to use YG07 and YG06. So I'm going to start with my we're going to start with, it's going to be YG17 and YG06. So I'm going to start with my YG17. And let's go ahead and start down here at this one right here. I'm just going to take my brush and do some flicking upwards away from, and I don't care if it's on the grass that's drawn there for me. I'm just adding some lines of color in here. And then she's got a couple of little petals of leaves on her flowers there, so I'm going to go fill those in. And then we're going to go over here and do this side. So again, let's flick up here onto some of these grass petals. And again, there's a couple of little leaves, so I'm going to give those a little dab of color. And then also, she's got some leaves in her hair, so let's go ahead and give each of those a little bit of dark on there. And then we'll grab YG06, and we can fill the leaves in her hair in. And then we're going to go down here and add a little bit more texture to our grass. So again, I'm just going to flick right over the top of that color I already laid down. And just add some more flower or some more grass in here. And I just got a little bit more up here, so I think I'll add a little bit more color there. And then I'm going to take my YG17, and I want to add some dots in here. So I'm just going to go along just to add a little bit of more interest down here underneath the grass. And then I'm going to take my YG06, and I'm going to go over those dots. Just add a little bit, soften them just a little bit. And you could swirl your grass around a little bit more. Go without the dots. Totally up to you. And I think I'm actually going to take my YG17 and put some more dark grass down in here. I don't feel like it's really showing up that well here. I'm going to add a little bit more. So there is our beautiful Sally and her snail all colored up. Isn't she pretty? And again, here is the finished card. So on my finished card, I added some Sharpie white paint pen to her cheeks. Remember to shake that with the lid on. I added some Stickle Stardust to the center of each of these flowers. And of course I used my Spica glitter pen in clear to add some sparkle to her hair. And I also took my Wink of Stella brush pen in clear and added some sparkles to each of the blue stripes on her socks and to the red on my little butterfly here. And then my card, the image is tucked down underneath this cute little frame right here. So you're going to have to kind of hold it on there and see where you want it and then attach it. And then I got my little smile sentiment here attached on top of that. So I hope you had fun coloring with me today. If you liked the video, please hit the like button so I know. And if you're not a subscriber, do that so you'll get all my latest videos. If you have a question, leave me a comment and I will get back to you. Otherwise, I hope you had fun and we will see you next time. Have a great day. Bye.